And joining us now on the Fan Guest Hotline from WTMJ4, NBC affiliate here in Milwaukee, Ashley Washburn. Ashley, how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's still 70 degrees as we're nearing the end of September.
I know.
I'm taking it all in as we can because I'm looking at this next week and you're starting to see the rain. And I'm like, fall and winter will be here before we all know it.
It will be. I agree, but I definitely agree with you. Let's all take advantage of these beautiful, beautiful days while we have them.
Mm-hmm.
You getting that pup? You getting that pup out for a walk?
You know what? I actually had to board him a week ago, and he came down with kennel cough, and so yeah, vet is having him stay away from dogs for the next 30 days. So he's like itching to go outside, and I'm like, bud, I'm sure right now, but
I'm sure.
Time in still.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for jumping on today. And of course, we got the news from practice yesterday that Tucker Kraft's knee's banged up. What has impressed you the most about Tucker Kraft so far this season? As we're not sure what type of information we have, right? Matt LaFleur just said that, it's a game time decision. Could this be, could he miss a week? Could he not miss any time? Could he miss a couple weeks? I feel like we just don't know. So we're just doing this Tucker Kraft tribute show today.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those gray areas where, we're going to get the injury report at the end of today, and they'll absolutely have him listed as questionable heading into Sunday. What's impressed me the most about him, which I'm not going to say it's a surprise because I think we saw the progression last year and we saw the steps that he was taking this offseason, is just the big playability. I mean, this is a guy, I think he's made open comments about, he's not going to let a DB tackle him in open space. And, this is a guy that is a leader in the locker room and just plays with a different beat and a different brand of football. And I think I've mentioned it before, maybe it was on this radio show, but I used to cover FCS football. And so I was aware of who Tucker Kraft was at South Dakota State. I was covering Montana State. That Montana State, South Dakota State rivalry just seems to keep growing and growing. But, always talking about those Jackrabbits and those FCS players. I mean, it's just a different breed of players that are coming into that program. And so, when he got drafted by the Packers, part of me already had, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, this guy's going to succeed. I know these FCS players, and we're
perfect fit, right? Perfect fit in Green Bay.
Exactly. I mean, he's made Green Bay his permanent residence with his family now. I mean, this is a guy who bleeds green and gold. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those things. Obviously, Jaden Reed's going to be down some time, and so there's this huge conversation of who is the Packers wide receiver one. Well, this last week, Tucker Kraft had no debate of who the top tight end is. Well, could there be some time where he's not going to be on the field? And what does that look like if he doesn't play this upcoming Sunday? I mean, I will say that this is an opportunity for Luke Musgrave, if Kraft doesn't play, to show on the field what people have been talking about all offseason, because coaches have been extremely high on him and what he's been able to do this offseason. We saw some glimpses of it here and there in training camp. And if Tucker Kraft can't play, this is an opportunity for Luke Musgrave to say, this is why the Packers selected me as high as they did those few years back.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're interested to see. We know that Musgrave's numbers, coming out of college were off the charts, and his athleticism, and everybody loved that. He's had some injury issues and has certainly been passed on the depth chart by Tucker. But if he were given the opportunity, could that work out? You also make a great point about Jaden Reed being out. And I guess whether it's, the wide receiver room or the combined wide receiver tight end room, what do you expect to see with Jaden Reed out? Is it Matthew Golden time? Is it not quite yet Matthew Golden time? What do you expect to see from that wide receiver room?
I mean, I hope to see more out of Matthew Golden on Sunday this upcoming week. I know that there were a few opportunities that Jordan Love tried to connect with him this last week. I wouldn't say that those were on Matthew Golden. I can remember, was it that opening drive, that pass that was underthrown that easily could have been Matthew Golden?
Fourth down,
Yep, first career touchdown. He's still a rookie. Would I love him to be the top wide receiver for the Packers? And we see that in week 3 against the Browns. Absolutely. But, still give him some time to acclimate. But yeah, with Jaden Reed out, that's a guy who brought a lot of speed, who could, go down the field, come up with some big passes. We saw what that touchdown would have been on Sunday against in week 2, if it wasn't for that penalty that negated it. But we've also seen Jordan Love really share the ball, not as much in week 2 as we saw in week 1, but there's still a lot of guys that are extremely involved. I think Romeo Dobbs could easily come out on Wednesday or Sunday and have a huge game, because we've been seeing stuff from him in these first 2 weeks as well. This is just creating more opportunities for everyone, but I still think we'll see a lot more for Matthew Golden come Sunday.
Let's jump to the other side of the ball. And as impressive as this defense has been, and I know they gave up, 2 late down touchdowns, one to Detroit and one to Washington, because you could make a very easy argument that these wins were even more dominant than the final score looked like. And Micah Parsons hasn't even been unleashed yet. He's still learning. He's still figuring it out. How good and how excited are you for how good this defense can be when it all clicks?
It's so exciting that when I was doing my fantasy football draft, I made sure that I selected the Packers early in that draft, because I'm like,
love it.
I felt confident about what I've been seeing on the field, especially with Micah Parsons added into the mix of like, easily they're getting me 11 points a week. That's all I'm looking for. But yeah, I mean, he's already starting to see what this Micah Parsons effect is, where he is on a limited snap count. Hopefully week 3, we won't see that because he is off the injury report. Matt LaFleur not saying whether or not he's going to be a full go come Sunday or if there will still be a snap count involved. But when he's on the field, and if he's not even necessarily making the big play, you're seeing just how much attention he's drawing. And it's allowing guys like Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, just, open space to get to the quarterback. And that's what that is. I mean, when you've got a guy like Micah Parsons on the field where you're having to double team, triple team him, all that does is allow more space for other teams to eat, which makes me excited come Sunday, because I am a defense person, in any sport. They always say defense wins championships.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this Packers defense and then knowing this Browns defense that they're going to be playing on Sunday. I mean, if you're a football fan that loves defense, it might be a low scoring game. We'll see, but that's the game to watch come Sunday.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun, especially I think the Packers defense is really going to show out on Sunday. It's so hard to not look past this game, right? Like not that like the Cowboys are good, but the return to Dallas, Micah Parsons. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's Sunday Night Football, so it happens to be on NBC. I'm sure that's not on your radar. I'm sure that's not on your radar at all.
Yeah, not at all.
but whether it's the players or whether it's you in your profession, like how do you make sure you focus on this game, knowing that next week you've got a big week, the players have a big week, Micah has a big week going to Dallas?
Yeah, I would say that this is a quote unquote textbook trap game, if you wanted to look at it that way, because you were looking at the beginning of this Packers football season, 2 games in 5 days against really good teams. The 2-time defending NFC North champs. Then you turn around 5 days later and you're playing against a team that was in the NFC Championship. And so you're like, okay, we've been able to get through this, got some injuries, but we've got a little bit longer to get ready for this week 3 game. Okay, you're playing against a Brown team that's 0-2. Joe Flacco's not playing great. They're having a hard time putting some points on the board, other than knowing that they're going to be playing a guy like Myles Garrett, other than you're looking at this game, looking ahead to week 4, knowing that you've got this big time matchup down in Dallas. But like you said, you still can't overlook this game. The Packers are going to have to get points up on the board. And through these first 2 weeks, the Browns have absolutely made a case, and that D-line especially, that they are a group that will try to will the Browns as much as they can throughout this season. And I think what I'm most interested coming this Sunday is this Packers run game. We haven't really seen much of it these first 2 weeks. I would love to see Josh Jacobs get that 12th consecutive touchdown. Only other player to do that in this century is LaDainian Tomlinson, and I grew up a Charger fan, so I've got that that love for him. But they're elite at stopping the run, and so I'm interested to see what the Packers will do offensively come Sunday.
So the Packers have the Browns this weekend. Next weekend, you have them on NBC against the Cowboys. But this weekend on NBC, I got to tell you, when I saw this on Monday or Tuesday, I turned to Tommy and I said, Tommy, when did college football go? And Notre Dame's been on NBC forever, but nobody else. I think I must have missed, because I'm so distraught about the Wisconsin Badgers football team as a Badger myself, who, was on the sidelines throughout the 90s and the early 2000s at every single game that that I've been, half ignoring college football news. When did college football come to NBC? And you've got the game Saturday morning, 11 a.m., Maryland at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I want to say, so I've only been with NBC now 2 years. So I want to say when I started 2 years ago, because I used to work for a CBS affiliate, it kind of started about 2 years ago. Last year, I don't remember the slate being as much as it is this year, but I do know that the Big Ten had a partnership with them. And so that's why you see, obviously, a lot of these Big Ten games listed as TBD going forward, because from my understanding, we will see a handful more of Badger football games on NBC this year. I'm hoping.
I don't know. I got to tell you, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, well, and I think, that there's obviously the big game on NBC at night, and then you've got the earlier one. There is a reason why I think this one is at 11 a.m. on this Saturday. But still, I think a good game. You're obviously trying to figure out how you can bounce back from a really humbling game in Tuscaloosa, to say the least.
Absolutely.
And against the Maryland team, they're 3-0, but I would say that's a weighted 3-0. They didn't necessarily play a non-conference schedule like the Badgers going down to SEC country. And
no, they haven't played anybody. The Badgers at least played one team. It didn't go well for the Badgers, but at least they know what it's like to be on the field against a true college football professional team. Maryland doesn't know that yet. I don't know if Maryland's going to learn that this weekend either. Like I'm just like,
they suck, Mitch.
All right, you're right, Tommy. All right, you're right. They stink. Maryland also stinks. But we're gonna watch because we watch the Badgers. We just watch Badger football and we hope for the best.
Yeah, and I think, if there's one thing to look at this week, and I'm not in Madison often, knowing what's going on with Luke Fickell's team, kind of to the point of what I know what's going on with the Packers. But from my understanding, I think we're wondering if Billy Edwards could possibly play on Saturday, which is obviously.
So are you loyal? Are you loyal to Danny O'Neil though? Like being San Diego State? Let's go.
It's funny, and I got to give a shout out to the people that I went to college with, because I still have a group chat with my San Diego State people. That's my fantasy football group that I've had for the last 8 years. And they texted me after that, was it Middle Tennessee game? And they're like, why didn't we see him do this at San Diego State? So, obviously I love
because he didn't get to play against Middle Tennessee State.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
And, we'll see what obviously happens on Saturday. They're going to keep that under wraps, wondering if it's going to be Danny O'Neil or Billy Edwards. But I think it will be a different game regardless. And one thing that I obviously noted is not the Packers, excuse me. They're obviously on my mind. The Badgers offensive line. There's a lot of young guys on that group. And, what was it? 3 redshirt freshmen that started against Alabama, and 3 redshirt freshmen for Wisconsin, or 3 redshirt freshmen that saw the field, is very different than freshmen that are playing for Alabama. Like there's a difference there.
Absolutely.
And so you hope that as the season goes on, which, when you're younger like that, they'll be taking big steps week by week. So there's an opportunity for growth there. I do see it being a way closer game. I do think that there is an opportunity for the Badgers to have an edge in this game, but would love, obviously, for Billy Edwards to be able to play against his former team. Would be a great way to kind of set the table as Micah Parsons gets ready to take his former team next Sunday down in Dallas.
Ashley Washburn joining us on Middays with Thunder here on The Fan. You can follow her on Twitter. It's at Ashley J. Washburn, or you can just type in Ashley Washburn in the search bar and find her, and then click on follow like I did, and it was very easy to do. And, as we go from the Packers to the Badgers, certainly we have to talk about just the absolute joy, the power of friendship, the power of pancakes.
Yeah, I love pocket pancakes.
From top to bottom, all the different stories and personalities that we are seeing from the team with the best record in Major League Baseball, our Milwaukee Brewers. How much fun has it been covering this team this summer?
I mean, it's been incredible because I'm not going to name names of who the beat writer was that I was talking with in the Brewers press box, but we were talking about, boarding our dogs specifically. And he said that he had a trip that him and his wife planned at the beginning of this season, but they planned it for the month of October because the Brewers started as rough as they did. And so he was kind of confident that the Brewers would not be in the position that they are, the best team in baseball, just a few games away from, clinching the NL Central potential number 1 seed. And so it's been incredible to see how quick of a turnaround it's been.
Yep.
Quinn Priester has been nothing but incredible. The
Dude
Miz,
never loses. Dude never loses ever.
I was reading some post-game comments, and I don't know who asked him of do you remember the last time?
Last game you pitched in where your team lost.
I have it down as 19 consecutive outings, which is just incredible, which has got to give you some confidence when you're getting ready to go into a postseason, because like they say in March Madness, anything can happen in March, anything can happen in October as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be great for the Brewers to get that first series bye and just go straight into the divisional series. But you've got to have a full pitching roster to be able to compete with. I know that there's some injuries, but if they can get that first bye in there, that'll help them with being able to get some guys back and obviously just keep the bats going, keep the defense going. But this is a fantastic time. There's definitely some euchre magic in the air, and how incredible would it be if they can go all the way and do it for Bob Uecker.
It's funny, right, Ashley? Because we're trying to balance how we talk about it. Because they're, being 6 games up in the division. I'm pretty willing to say, if they go 4-5 the rest of the way, they clinch the division. The magic number is 4. I'm pretty confident the Brewers can go 4-5 the rest of the way. So I feel pretty good about the division. Then you look at the National League, the number 1 seed, and they're 3 games up on Philly. So again, if they went 4-5 the rest of the way, Philly, I think, has to go 8-1, I think. And so again, I feel pretty confident that the Brewers will get that 1 seed. If they don't, if they get the 2 seed, they still get a bye, and they still jump into the NLDS. And then, like you said, you never know what happens in October. The Dodgers are not playing well right now, but 2 weeks from now, if they get hot, the Dodgers do strike fear in people. The Padres could get hot. We saw what the Mets did last year. And so it's so you never know. So I think we're all trying to measure our language about our excitement level, knowing how good this team is, how good it was to win 11 in a row at one point, to win 14 in a row at one point, to have the 3 wins away from the best record in franchise history. And then we want to talk about October. Tickets went on, the pre-sales started yesterday. There's another pre-sale today. I think the single tickets go on sale on Tuesday or whatever it is. It's how do you balance that excitement with, are you being a little stitious? Are you being superstitious? How do you balance all those different emotions looking ahead to October?
I think we just have to take a page out of the Brewers clubhouse and what they've kind of been doing this season, because when we are asking about, that winning streak that they had, and we're asking about things that Christian Yelich has been able to do and all these different things, I mean, they just keep pointing back to the team. And truly, this is a group of best friends just playing baseball. That's all it is. These guys are going out to the backyard. They're making, this is just a different brand of baseball. These guys all love each other. And I also will point that to Pat Murphy and what he's been able to do, because again, I think going into this year, there was a lot of people that didn't know if the Brewers would be able to win a 3rd straight NL Central title, just with how this year was shaping out in the preseason and down in training camp and different things like that. But I mean, these guys are just coming in and playing baseball. They're trying to do not look ahead for that exact season, because it's so easy to look too far ahead. Just like we're talking about this potential trap game for the Packers. They're not looking ahead to October yet. They know that they've still got, 9 games left on this regular season. So they can start thinking about October when October 1st hits. And I think that's kind of the way you got to look at it as a Brewer fan, which is so hard to do, because, you've seen this team just set these records all year, and you have guys that are just coming out of the woodworks, like Quinn Priester. Who knew that this guy was going to do what he did?
Who is Quinn Priester?
I will not forget. It was the first Cubs series in Milwaukee, and Quinn Priester was slated to start that game.
And we found out that Taylor Alexander ended up being the lefty opener.
Yeah, and it was Pat Murphy just saying he didn't feel like Quinn Priester was ready for the moment, knowing what the top of that batting order looked like for the Cubs. And we're standing here now, September 19th, and this guy can't lose. So it's just incredible to see the progression of this team.
I totally agree. All right, Ashley, tell us a little bit about what you're working on. Any features, any stories? What do you got coming up?
You know what? I'm glad you asked, because I got a fun one that I started working on earlier this week, and it will air preluding Sunday Night Football.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I met up with Mark Murphy at his golf course up in Door County.
Yep,
We went
sure.
golfing.
How's your game? How's your game?
You know what? I have told Mark that this is the best golf outing I have ever had in my life, and it's on camera to prove it.
I love it.
Between the two of us, I think he would tell you that I probably finished with a better score, which is impressive because I literally started over a year ago, but I got a lot of power, so I can get it down the fairway. But he had some incredible things to talk about. I think some fans will hear some things and stories that, are new. He can talk about it now because
Sure. Yep.
He's not employed by the Packers technically. And he had a lot to say about Matt LaFleur's golf game. So I'll leave it at that. But it'll be a lot of fun stuff. That'll be airing on Sunday.
Awesome. Definitely looking forward to that. That'll be a blast. And keep up the great work. Enjoy the Badger game Saturday morning. And then, of course, next week, you've got the Packers game on your air. Thank you so much for jumping on today. And we will definitely have you on again soon. And can't wait to watch that feature on Sunday.
I love it. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You as well. She is Ashley Washburn, TMJ4. Follow her on Twitter at Ashley J. Washburn, doing absolutely great work there at TMJ4. This is Middays with Thunder here on The Fan. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. We're going to hear a little bit from Matt LaFleur at his press conference, hear what he had to say about the wide receiver room and Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons not being on the injury report. What's going on with Zach Tom? What's going on with Aaron Banks and the offensive line? We'll do that at the top of the 12 o'clock hour. This is Middays with Thunder on The Fan.